The clatter of tools and the roar of engines fill the air as mechanics work in a busy auto repair shop in a small Ohio town. Move with practiced accuracy while shouting, laughing, and resolving issues beneath lifted hoods amid the commotion. Earl, 62, is just the janitor, the elderly man who cleans up after the actual employees. No one really notices him as he quietly pushes a mop across the oil-stained floor. But he seems to mind. He listens more than he talks, nods when someone speaks to him, and vanishes as fast as he appears. What no one sees, though, is the mind behind those weary eyes, a mind that was once full of dreams, designs, and diagrams. Earl was on track to become a master mechanic decades ago and even got a scholarship to a technical college. But he gave everything up to care for his mother when she became seriously ill. Life went on, and Earl never went back to the world he loved. Instead, he took a job as a caretaker so he could continue to be near the machines that once inspired him, while others view him as merely a part of the background. Earl is more than just a caretaker. He is a silent observer, a forgotten man with untapped brilliance waiting not for another chance, but for one moment to reveal himself to the world. He notices everything, including the way engines cough before failing, the hesitation in a mechanic's hand, and the misalignment of a tire just by sound. It began like any other morning with tools clanking and engines rumbling. But then a sleek, brand new luxury car was towed and its engine dead despite having just been taken off the lot. The team of knowledgeable mechanics gathered around confused scanners that threw errors they didn't recognize one by one. As the hours passed, tension increased as the young lead mechanic laughed. Even though Earl couldn't fix this mess, which the crew thought was harmless teasing. Earl looked up, quietly mopping nearby, and simply said, "Want a bet?" The space froze. Earl never said anything like that, and some of the guys thought he was kidding, but his eyes told them otherwise, so the shop manager, who was intrigued and maybe amused, intervened. "If you fix it by closing time, Earl, I'll give you a bonus for a month. If not, there won't be any resentment." The mechanics watched in shock as Earl simply nodded steadily and calmly, as if he had been waiting for this his entire life. The floor went silent as the bet hung in the air, and all eyes were suddenly on the janitor. Not with mockery this time, but with curiosity. Something had changed. No one knew what was going to happen, but they all knew it wouldn't be normal. Earl approaches the car silently, doesn't grab fancy tools or plug in diagnostics, and instead opens the hood and stands there for a W from a distance. Earl gently touches the engine as if it were an old friend, tracing parts with his fingers. Then he crouches to listen to a soft clicking that most people completely missed. He then carefully starts working without hesitation or second-guessing, removing the casing, checking a number of wires, and carefully unbolting a crucial component. What he finds causes him to pause, then nod as if it confirms something he only suspected, a tiny hidden flaw, a factory defect in the fuel injection module that is nearly undetectable unless you know exactly what to look for the same kind of problem. One by one, younger mechanics he had studied decades ago in outdated manuals for fun. Come closer. There won't be any more jokes or smiles, just quiet fascination. The noise of the shop fades into silence for the first time. They are not seeing a caretaker. Instead, they are witnessing a man who understands machines on a level few ever will. And as the last hour draws near, genuine respect starts to grow. Earl moves with calm confidence, his hands certain, his breath steady. It's like watching someone play an instrument only he remembers how to use. The air is heavy with tension as Earl tightens the final bolt, wipes his hands on his faded boiler suit, and nods to the manager. He turns the key, and after a brief moment of silence, the engine roars to life with strength and smoothness. The whole store bursts into applause and incredulity. The mechanics shake their heads in amazement and slap each other's backs. But Earl doesn't savor the moment. No raised arms, no proud smile. He quietly moves away from the vehicle, his face serene and almost contemplative, and then he notices the youngest mechanic, an insecure and bashful apprentice who had been observing the entire time with wide eyes. "You'll do fine, kid," says Earl softly as he approaches and gently places the wrench in the boy's hand. "Just listen to the machine." Earl's straightforward words cut through the chaos more than any victory could have. He hadn't just fixed a car. He'd fixed something deeper, And everyone realized what had actually happened as the boy blinks back tears. No one had ever spoken to him like that before with faith and trust. The shop will never see Earl the same way again, and the boy with the wrench will never forget the day someone saw greatness in him before he saw it in himself. This man, whom the world had overlooked, gave them more than just a solution. He gave them inspiration, a glimpse of humility wrapped in brilliance, and a quiet lesson in grace. The following morning, the shop feels different. The air is buzzing with quiet anticipation, and Earl enters wearing a clean mechanic's uniform with his name stitched across the chest. His hands are grease-stained, and he pauses mid-task as everyone looks. The manager smiles proudly as he greets him. They have made him a special position. Senior Specialist in Diagnosis, it's not just a title. It's acknowledgement. As soon as the long-overdue word gets out, customers begin calling Earl by name, eager to have the man who hears engines breathe look at their cars. However, Earl remains true to himself and doesn't let it change who he is. When asked how he knew what to fix, he simply shrugs and responds, "Machines speak, you just gotta listen." He still arrives early, sweeps up when no one is looking, and eats lunch by himself behind the store with a quiet smile. More than that, though, Earl now finds time to mentor others, particularly the younger men, giving them quiet counsel and sharing the lessons he learned the hard way. Earl also reminds anyone who questions their value with a glance and a line that they will never forget. Everyone has value. You just need to look beneath the surface in a society that is too quick to judge by titles and uniforms. Earl demonstrated that heart, talent, and wisdom can often be found in the most unlikely places, and the forgotten caretaker suddenly became the shop's lifeblood.